Find S5, which is the sum of the first 5 terms for the sequence described. Geometric with a sub 5 equal to 4 and a sub 7 equal to 1. In order to find the sequence, the sum of the first 5 terms, we need to know the common ratio and we need to know the first term. So let's first try to find R. We know that A7 is equal to A6 times R. And we know that A6 is equal to A5 times R. So A6 is A5 times R. That's what A7 is. So A7 is equal to A5 times R squared. A7 is given to us as 1. A5 is given to us as 4. R squared. So R squared is equal to 1/4 when we divide both sides by 4. Taking the square root of both sides, we get 2 possibilities. R is equal to plus or minus 1/2 because the square root of 1/4 could be positive 1/2 or it could be negative 1/2. So we know the common ratio, or at least we know that it's either positive 1/2 or negative 1/2. We need to find A1. The formula for A1 would say that, well, we know A7, so let's use that. A7 should be equal to A1 times that common ratio to the n minus 1 power. An is A1, the ratio time to the n minus 1 power. So this should be to the 6th power. A7 is 1. A1 we don't know. If we're going to take positive 1/2 to the 6th power or negative 1/2 to the 6th power, it wouldn't matter. Either one of them is going to give us the same answer, which is 1/64. So A1 here is going to be 64, regardless of whether the common ratio is positive 1/2 or negative 1/2. Okay, so now we need to add up the first 5 terms for this sequence, but we actually have 2 sequences that we need to check. The first sequence we need to check has the first term 64 and a ratio of 1/2. The second sequence that we need to check has A1 being 64, but the ratio being negative 1/2. So I've written over here the formula for the nth sum. S sub n is equal to the first term A1 times the quantity r to the n minus 1, all divided by the quantity r minus 1. So if we're looking for S5, is going to be A1, which we decided was 64, times 1/2 to the 5th power minus 1, all divided by 1/2 minus 1. S5 is 64. 1/2 to the 5th power is 1/32, minus 1, all divided by 1/2 minus 1 is negative 1/2. That's going to be equal to 64. 1/32 minus 1 is negative 31 30-seconds, all divided by negative 1/2. You can pull out your calculator at this point if you want. I can do a little bit of simple arithmetic. 64 and 32 is going to give us 2. 2 times negative 31 is negative 62. Divided by negative 1/2 is going to be like multiplying by negative 2. So that's going to be positive 124. So if the ratio is 1/2 and the first term is 64, then the first 5 terms will add up to 124. Now we need to do the same thing if the ratio is negative 1/2. The same formula applies. S5 is equal to 64 negative 1/2 to the 5th minus 1 over negative 1/2 minus 1. 64 times negative 1/2 to the 5th is negative 1/32 minus 1 over negative 1/2 minus 1 is negative 3/2. So we have 64. Negative 1 is 32 30-seconds, so this becomes negative 33 30-seconds divided by negative 3/2. Again, we can use the same trick. 2 times negative 33 is negative 66. Divided by negative 3/2 is going to be multiplying by negative 2/3, and that's going to give us positive 44. So The sum of the first 5 terms of this sequence is either 124 if the first term is 64 and the ratio is positive 1/2, or it's positive 44 if the first term is 64 and the ratio is negative 1/2.